Hello, and welcome to the Phoenix Burning Podcast. There is a phase of the Phoenix cycle where it burns and returns to ash, a phase we often overlook in favor of the more inspirational Phoenix Rising. However, sometimes we need to burn away the old before we're ready for the new. I am Veronika Archer, an intuitive guide and transformation coach. And in this podcast, I share my audio diary chronicling my burning phase. These recordings are completely raw and unfiltered, often recorded while I walk around outside in nature, and I release them to you in their unedited state in the hopes that you may find comfort, hope, and maybe some inspiration as you go through your burning. On the day that I'm recording this, it is Saturday the 21st, so it's only been a few days, I think, since 5 days since I recorded last. I wasn't actually expecting to record today. And it's funny, normally when I start recording, there's something that is really wanting to come through and wanting to be talked about. And I don't feel that really powerfully right now. Oh, what just came up for me is the need to be seen and heard. That's what it is. So I'm not sure exactly what this episode's going to be about, but since this is my audio diary, I suppose today will be, I'm just going to talk about my experience. The things that are kind of jumbling around in my brain that I think I'm going to talk about. We'll see what's channeled through. The things that I think I want to talk about are the difficulty of living with I'll call it a hidden illness or an unseen illness. And I just felt the power of that as I said it. So I know there's people out there who really also are wanting to be seen around hidden illnesses. And the other thing is the power of the word. And actually the third part is the incredible, how as humans we're all, we're very I don't want to say narcissistic, but of course we see the world through our own lens, which sometimes creates a sort of a gap of empathy and sympathy that is often needed by our fellow humans. And I'm just as guilty as the rest. Right now, I'm going to share my experience of not feeling seen, not with the intention of blaming, but with the hope that it provides some expansion in people's thinking, and with the acknowledgement that I myself do the things that I'm about to talk about as having been on the receiving end. So it's a space that I think we all can feel into and benefit from, maybe making some changes. So living with an unseen illness, it's something I've experienced in the past when I dealt with chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And but I'm just going to speak to the illness now. That I'm not even calling it. I keep saying I'm unwell. I don't like calling it an illness because for some reason I feel like it gives it so much power. And really I know that I'm unwell, and that means that I can restore to wellness. The fatigue that I'm dealing with is just different than any other fatigue I've ever experienced. It's pretty bad today. My brain fog is pretty bad, so you may hear me struggling to communicate and share this. I had chronic fatigue syndrome for, I think, like 10 years, so I dealt with fatigue. There's something different about the quality to this fatigue. Perhaps it's, I don't even want to speak that. The other time that I remember feeling this fatigued was when I had COVID. So perhaps there's a connection between my current symptoms and that particular virus that I had.
Um, it's a type of fatigue where, like, there is no pushing through. I shouldn't say that. I do push through a little bit. There's certain days that when I have client sessions, um, I can push through a little bit. But I will share what happened to me the other night when I attempted to push through. So it's just an overwhelming fatigue. And I'm going to describe my morning to you, so that you have some understanding of what I mean. Because people who haven't experienced debilitating fatigue um, don't really have a understanding of what that may feel like. And for some reason, I'm feeling compelled to share that with you. So perhaps if there's someone in your life who's sharing with you, I'm fatigued, maybe it can help you understand where they're coming from. My schedule today, it is now noon. It is 11:56. It's a Saturday. I allowed myself to just wake up naturally. So I woke up naturally at around 8:30. I did my morning supplements, made my morning tea, and did my morning meditation. I actually ended up doing a fairly intense meditation today. Um, so I stayed in that space until 10:15. Then I walked my dog. For context, my dog is a small Russell Terrier mix, and she is 14 years old. So walking my dog is not um, it's not exercise. We strolled around in the complex that I live in, and it's a beautiful day today. It's sunny, a little cool, but I really enjoyed being outside in the sun and just being outside. And while I walked my dog, um, I listened to some messages on Boxer from a friend and colleague, and then I responded to those messages. So that was maybe a half hour of maybe a little bit more. Let's see, it was 10:15 when I went for a walk. Actually, I think it was 10:30 when I went for a walk. It is now noon, so I'm not sure how long I walked for. Maybe 45 minutes of walking and listening and talking, which is using my brain. And I had a plan for the afternoon. So I have a list of things this morning after my meditation as part of my leading with rest. I made a list of the things that I feel like I need to get done. And then I asked my feminine, the part that's needing restoration, which of these feels good for you to do today? And I kind of outlined things. I crossed some things off. And anyway, so I had a couple things that I was going to do. And came back from my walk. Oh, I ate breakfast before my walk. That's what it was. So I meditated till 10:15. I ate breakfast, which was one of my pre-made meals. So I took it out of the freezer, popped it in the microwave, went for a walk for about 45 minutes, came back home, switched out the laundry. And then I had decided that instead of my to-dos, I was going to go outside because it's so gorgeous and journal and get some stuff out of my head. I have a commitment to myself to release some things before I go away next week on my restorative healing journey. I came back from my walk and was like, oh my God, I need to sit down, which is when I sat down and started recording. In fact, right now I feel like I need to go take a nap. I'm so tired. I have my eyes closed as I'm recording because I'm so tired. I woke up at 8:30. I meditated for 8:30, 9:30, an hour and 45 minutes. I went for a 45-minute walk and I'm exhausted. I'm not sure if anything else is going to get done today. I will likely have another burst of energy of about a 2-hour burst later today. That's been my pattern. So we'll see. So what's challenging about this? There's so many things that are challenging about this. One is I don't know what's wrong. I've gone to the doctor. I've gotten some tests done. I don't have a diagnosis. Why does that matter? I've been asking myself a lot about why I want a diagnosis. For me, it's about feeling like I know what it is and then I can fix it or somebody can fix it. So there's that. But there's also that, like when you share with people, I'm unwell, if you're able to say, I have X. This is one of the things, I may do an episode on the benefits of the pandemic, because there were a lot of benefits in the pandemic. One of them was that if you said, I have COVID, a few things happened. One, everyone told you to stay home and rest, which is what we should do when we have any illness. If it's the flu or a cold, ear infection, stay home and rest. First of all, don't spread your germs around. Second of all, take care of yourself. So when you were sick with COVID, people were very understanding about you not working and resting and staying at home. There's also a level of sympathy, like, oh, like, how bad is it? Are you okay? What do you need? Can I bring you food? So those were the benefits of saying that. And even now I've noticed, like, if I say to somebody, oh, I think I might have long COVID, I get a certain response, like, oh, I'm so sorry, and how can I support? There's a level of like understanding. But when I just tell people I'm unwell, I can see that it's not landing with them. And one of the reasons I did a long meditation this morning was I was asking myself the question, why is it important for me that the people around me understand and are sympathetic? Like, why do I need that? Is that so? So that's a separate conversation. But it is interesting, and there's two things that I think are really important here that I really want to share. So one is the level of understanding, right? So I tell people, like, I'm really unwell. I'll just use an example, because I think examples are the best way to show what you're experiencing or what you mean. And again, it's not intended to be disparaging on this person. They don't understand, and that's okay. And that's why I'm recording this and why I'm releasing it, is to maybe increase understanding. So I've told this person that I keep saying I'm extremely unwell or something like that. And I tell people I have enough energy for about 2 hours. And as you can see, that 2 hours of energy is like me eating my breakfast, meditating, and going for a walk. And then I'm freaking done. It's not even like doing very much. It's not even like cleaning or, being physically active. I got a text message from a friend, an acquaintance. I haven't known her very long, so, but I'll say a friend. And she said, this is so, I don't know why it's so funny to me. She asked me if I wanted to go to an event from 10 to 6. No, I'm sorry, from 10 to 4. I don't know if she was intending that we were going to be there the whole time, or if that was just how long the event was and we didn't actually have to be there the whole time. It's about a 45-minute drive away, so it'd be 90 minutes of driving plus a 6-hour event. She sends me a message. Hi, I hope you're feeling better. There's this event tomorrow. Do you want to go with me? The way that feels, when you have shared with somebody, I am extremely unwell. I only have enough energy for about 2 hours at a time. And the response that you receive is, do you want to come with me to this event that's going to take up 8 hours? It's such a disconnect between how you're feeling and what you need, and the response from somebody who's a friend who you would expect would have some level of empathy. So part of that is, what I started off with, that we are only able to see our world through our own lens. So I suspect where that invitation came from was like, I'm going to this event. I know Veronika would be interested in this, and I know that I would we would enjoy this together, and we would have a good time. And I really kind of want her company potentially. I'm projecting, right? But just potentially, I really want her company for a fun day. And the way that it's received is, how can my friend be so not understanding of my situation? For me to spend 8 hours with somebody, I would be knocked out for 3 days. I wouldn't be able to make myself a meal. I wouldn't be able to walk my dog. I wouldn't be able to I'm already not able to do the basic things that are needed to get through life. I'm not really functional at this point. And when you're in that state of not being very functional, and you have told people that you are in that state, and you receive an invitation like that, I'm not actually hearing this because I know better, right? But potentially, like, what that invitation says to me is like, I don't understand that, or it's not important to me that you spending 8 hours with me is going to it's a huge ask, is what I'm trying to say. It's a huge ask. You may as well be asking me to give up 7 days of my life for you, which ironically one of my friends is doing because she's helping me move, right? It's a huge gift, a beautiful gift. And when you ask me to spend a whole day with you, or when you ask me to spend multiple hours with you, when I have told you that I have enough energy for 2 hours a day, it feels like a really big ask. And it actually contributes to the feeling of isolation, because it just like hits me like, holy fuck, like, people do not understand that I'm just like at home on my couch in pain for 6 hours a day. So the challenge with that is, when it's an unseen illness and you just simply say, I'm unwell and I have low energy, compared to like, I have COVID, I have cancer, I have a broken leg. People understand what that means, and perhaps they also understand what you might need, you know? But when you just have sort of vague symptoms, there is sort of just this lack of understanding and lack of empathy, which can make the illness that you're dealing with, the unwellness that you're dealing with, I guess that's what illness means, isn't it? Unwellness. It feels so much bigger, and it makes it feel very isolating. So I'm asking myself right now, why am I sharing this, right? So, because the way that my brain and system operates is that I don't actually expect people to do anything. Like, this is something I'm dealing with, and, of course other people don't understand. But I think what I want to share is, I feel like we are all so caught up in our own little worlds. It comes back to this like lack of community. There's an episode where I talked about giving and receiving, and how it's this cycle that we're all putting into and receiving from. And I think my experience with this unseen illness or unknown illness is the lack of empathy. And where does lack of empathy come from? It comes from this individualization and this just seeing the world through our own lens, right? Like my friend who's like, I want to go to this event, and it would be fun if Veronika came with me. We don't stop and go, how's Veronika doing right now? Right? And I think we could all as a world really benefit from changing our language. I think this is what I really want to talk about today, is the power of the word and how important it is. There's a lot of different ways that the word is powerful, and I suspect I'll talk about it in different ways. But certainly so I'm going to just talk about certain aspects of it right now. So as someone who feels unwell, the things that I really appreciate hearing is just like, how are you doing today? Like, how's it going? Is there anything that you need from me, or is there any way that I can support you? That question is a little bit difficult, and I'm not here to give you advice on how to interact with somebody that may be not feeling well, because sometimes that question of how can I support you, when you are so tired and so overwhelmed, you don't even know. That's how I feel most of the time. I'm like, or it's like, I need so many things and I don't even know what to ask for. Like, I could use someone to bring me food. I could use someone to clean my dishes. I could use someone to just come and be with me, because when somebody's physically with me, I feel better. I feel, emotionally better. Sometimes it gives me energy too. So those are the things I need, but the list of things is so long. I'm like, I don't, like, what are you able to give? So sometimes asking, what can I do for you? How can I support you, is not helpful because it's too open-ended. Something that I find really helpful is when people are able, so in the episode on giving and receiving, one of the things I said was that people really enjoy being asked to do things that they're good at, because it makes them feel recognized. And so the opposite side of that is with giving, is if you can offer something that feels good to you to offer. Hey, I love to cook, and I would really love to just cook some meals for you and drop them off. Would that be okay? Hey, I'm super busy, but I would love to buy you some house cleaning. I feel like I've said this before. Maybe that was another episode. I have brain fog, and I recognize that I repeat myself sometimes in these episodes. And I've decided to just go with it, because it's just a reflection of the state that I'm in right now. So if you're someone who's listened to all my episodes and you're like, I've heard this before, it's a symptom of the brain fog. Okay. So I just wanted to share about having an unseen illness and not feeling seen, and not feeling seen. That's the bottom line. When people invite me to do things, when I've told them that I'm unwell, if it feels really not good. And I think a big part of that is just shifting our language, and just learning to maybe pause for a minute and be like, is my language coming from my own projection, my own needs, my own projection of the world, things that I want? Or am I even thinking about the person that I'm communicating with? And, I'm sharing that as somebody, I think, who has been the kind of person who speaks from my own lens rather than being empathetic, and learning to kind of make that shift. And I'm still working on it, still learning, and seeing sort of the positive impacts that it has. And then also, like, how it feels so good. Like, if I tell someone I'm really unwell, and they're like, oh, in what ways are you unwell? And I tell them, they're like, wow, that sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. That feels so nourishing to me, as opposed to let me try to fix it. Have you tried this supplement? Have you tried that supplement? Maybe you have long COVID. Maybe you have thyroid issues. Maybe you have a virus. Maybe you have a fungus. Maybe you have bacteria. Like, loving, well-intentioned people start trying to help you fix the problem. And it's very overwhelming. So what has really come up for me with having this unseen illness, and I've experienced it before, whenever I see patterns, it always makes me pay attention, right? One of the things that comes up for me is the lack of presence that we have with each other, the lack of understanding, hey, what's going on with you? And being really present is something that I'm always focusing on and working on and deepening into. And I'm realizing that it's something that I want also, and perhaps don't get enough of. And it's something that I find really comes to the surface when I'm feeling unwell. So there's some connection between the desire for presence, the desire for being seen, and being unwell. That's really interesting. I suspect it's connected to one of the underlying root causes. I have a similar experience when I go to the doctor. So I've met with two different doctors, using that word loosely. One is in Arizona where I'm moving. So I wanted to get the ball rolling with having a doctor there. She's a naturopathic doctor. So I had a phone consult with her. And then I also had lab work done and went to see my holistic healthcare practitioner. So she's not an MD or an ND, for whatever that matters. And in both cases, it was interesting. I shared with them my symptoms, and there was actually like a pretty high lack of concern, which I suppose is good. Like, okay, you don't think there's anything like, drastically wrong with me. But it was also super interesting because I walked away from both appointments with just this, like, I just wanted to cry, to be honest. Actually, after both appointments, I walked away and wanted to cry. And I asked myself, I didn't cry, but I asked myself, why do you want to cry? And it's because it made me feel so hopeless. And so, like, I want someone to, like, step in and be like, oh my God, it is not okay that you are this unwell. It is not okay that you are this not functional. Let's figure out what's going on with you. And I didn't get that energy from either doctor. The holistic healthcare practitioner looked at my labs. There were things that were out of bounds, and she was just like, I don't really know what this means. We'll have to do some more tests, but take some supplements that should help your symptoms. So I'm taking those supplements, but I'm feeling very skeptical because I know that she tends to prescribe, or not prescribe because they're supplements, but recommend the same supplements to everybody. And if you don't know what I believe that herbal medicine, I call it plant medicine, but I'm not talking about psychedelics. Herbal medicine can really help. And also, every plant has its own medicine. It has its own frequency, its own vibration. And I think it's important to understand, where are your symptoms coming from, what's causing them, and then take the correct supplement that actually will support you with feeling better. I just had a major epiphany, and I have to pause because I'm feeling really upset with myself. I realize, as I said those words, that there's someone I know who does exactly that, who I have a high degree of faith in. And I told myself I was not going to go back to my previous healthcare practitioner because I don't believe that she has that skill set that I just shared. And then I ended up going back to her because she's the one that had my lab work, and and she knew my history, and it was just easier. And I don't think that was the right decision. And so I'm upset with myself for doing that. It's really fascinating to me, as I just had that realization, how hard it can be to take care of ourselves sometimes. Like, there's so many layers of resistance that are not even on the conscious level that I can look back on later and be like, damn it, that came from that space of resistance connected to X, Y, and Z. I can see it right now, and I don't want to go into that story at the moment. But it's just fascinating how the things that we have resistance towards. My theme this whole time, right, is that my whole life I've not taken care of my body, which is why she's screaming at me right now. And when I say I don't take care of my body, okay, this is something else I want to talk about today. I want to be clear that, like, I don't know why this matters, but it matters because it's on a very subtle, deep level, right? So, in other words, like I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't eat junk food. I eat relatively healthy. I spend time outside. Um, when I say I don't take care of my body, it's on a deeper level of care. You know, there are people who like really don't take care of themselves, like don't even know how to, um, or don't want to, or whatever. I don't think anyone doesn't want to, but um, that are used to eating, you know, they've been taught to eat in a very unhealthy way. They've been taught to have a very unhealthy lifestyle. And I'm not in that category. I'm in a category of like like I take relatively good care of myself, but it's on this deeper, more nuanced level. And the reason I feel like that's important to share is because so often when I talk with clients and I'm like, hey, are you managing your stress, or are you, because I'm not a life coach, so I don't really, we work on the very specific things that we're looking at. Sometimes something comes up and I'm like, like this may be like a medical thing. Have you gone to a doctor? Are you taking care of yourself? You know, are you taking care of your stress? Are you doing self-care? And more often than not, I hear back from people, yes, I am, because I tend to work with people who have a pretty high level of self-care and understanding, you know, and they're like, no, I journal every day, or I meditate every day, or I take my vitamins or whatever. But when I drill down, and like for example, a client was dealing with a symptom and they thought it might be emotional, and we were looking at it and I felt like it was medical. And I was like, have you talked with somebody about your hormones? Oh yeah, I'm on a supplement. Okay, who recommended that supplement? Why are you taking it? Is there anyone, have you had like a visit with a practitioner who's knowledgeable in this area? No, I just read about it and started taking it. Okay, well, I think there may be something going on with your hormones, and like perhaps talk with somebody who's familiar with that. Now, this is somebody who's very healthy, like as a not a triathlete, but I don't want to share details for privacy reasons, but is at a very high level of fitness. Let me put it that way: high level of fitness. And yet, I could see that they had not addressed this particular issue in the way that it was asking to be addressed. So I feel that like that's important, because I keep talking about how I'm not taking care of myself, and somebody said something to me recently, like, it's interesting to hear you talk about that, because you always recommend to your clients to take care of themselves. And so if you're somebody who feels like you're taking care of yourself but you're having symptoms, just recognize that you're being asked to take care of yourself at a deeper level. So I started sharing this for a reason, and I ended up somewhere else. I was sharing how I just felt like I wanted to cry after I left the doctor, using the practitioner, because I felt like they weren't really listening or even looking for what was going on. They were just providing me with supplements based on like the same supplements they provide everyone. This is the crux of the feminine experiment. You can listen to the feminine experiment with me and Sandy. This is the crux of the problem that I see in our world right now, is that we have all decided individually what is correct and right. So with this particular practitioner, what is correct and right is these supplements that I now prescribe to, or now recommend to everybody, because I believe that they work in business. This is how you're supposed to run your business. This is how you're supposed to market, because this is what works. As a friend, but I don't even want to go there for that. But those are the two examples that really come to mind right now. It's this like, it isn't, we're in the age of narcissism. It is a level of narcissism of just like, I have found the thing that works. I am now going to tell everybody to do this thing. There's a lack of presence. I feel like on a global level that's what the world, the universe, the whatever, the global consciousness is asking us to do right now is to return. This is ancient wisdom, is to return to a level of presence. And if we would each simply be, the sorrow that is channeling through me right now is immense. Oh, this might be where I have to end today because it's so powerful. I don't think I've shared with you yet that I'm a channel, and it's part of this process that I'm going through right now. The phoenix burning and the phoenix. The next phase I'm stepping into is just really allowing my natural intuitive abilities to come through, which for me is channeling. And once I understood that and owned that, now like I used to channel just intentionally, like with clients. And now it just sort of comes through whenever I drop into presence. So what's channeling through right now is this intense sorrow, and the message is, if we would all just return to presence, all of the problems, that sounds so huge, but she really wants you to know this, all of the problems we're facing right now. And as I say that, I'm literally getting like a movie reel of just like flashes of all the problems in the world. All the problems of my clients, all the problems in the world are like flashing before my eyes. If we each, as individuals, return to a deep state of presence, all the problems that we are facing right now would melt away. The emotions that are passing through me and the sensations that are passing through me as I say that is really deep. And I'm recognizing. So something that channeled through me yesterday was that the things that we are experiencing, so in my case, this unwellness, is something that is also connected with a corresponding pain in the global consciousness, and also a corresponding gift that we have that is being asked for in order to heal that aspect of the global consciousness. This channeled through when I was working with a client who has a very deep connection to nature, and she's going through something that the presence of nature is really healing for her. And as we were talking, what was channeling through was that the earth needs healing, and in a very specific way in where she lives. Again, I don't want to share details for her privacy, but there's some very specific things happening on the land and in the history of the land where she is currently living that's asking to be honored and healed. And that was the message that channeled through, was that she is receiving healing from the land, and the land is also asking for her to return healing to it. And she is specifically connected with with the earth, like that is her gift, one of her gifts. And it just hit me just now that is the same message that I'm being taught here with this unwellness that I'm experiencing. What I am wanting so deeply, so badly from my doctors, from my friends. I'm receiving it from my colleagues because they understand and my clients. But what I'm wanting so badly from my doctors and my friends is presence and being seen. And I know that that is also the gift that I give to others is presence. And it is what our global consciousness is one of the things our global consciousness is asking for. So I'm trying to speak what I experienced. I experienced all of that in like a flash just now, and I wanted to speak it to you. So the earth, the global consciousness is asking us to all return to deep presence so that all of the things we're struggling with right now will go away. And I'm just going to give a few examples in case that doesn't make sense. So with my health, right? So if a doctor or a practitioner just paused and like let go of the structure that they have been trained in, let go of their beliefs that this thing will help this person, and just listened. Wait, what is going on for you? And then let's match the healing tool, the healing tool with whatever it is that's going on for you. Then I think these illnesses will go away so much faster. All the ugliness that's happening right now between the genders, you know, just all the things that women have experienced and are now sharing, and it's coming to light. And there's, you know, screaming for being seen, for being heard. And unfortunately, as part of that, men are being really pushed down, and there's a lot of problems that are being generated towards men and towards the masculine. All of that could be resolved through presence. I see you. I hear you. I understand your pain. What do you need in order to resolve this pain? It's coming up in transgender and non-binary. Expressions of that, and people, you know, the need for us to all share our pronouns. If we could all just be in deep presence with each other, we wouldn't need to share our pronouns because we'd already be seen. If we could be present with the earth, I can see that the earth is sick or in pain, and I can see that my actions are contributing to that pain. Even my actions are not contributing to that pain. I can see that the earth is sick. What does she need to return to wellness? By being in deep presence, you cannot help but take right action. By being in deep presence, you cannot help but take right action.